Hey, guy without a mask, guy without a mask, guy without a mask. Every time he refers to me, he's like that, and he's got a terrible, terrible attitude about him that says all these mean, mean things, and he gets everybody inside that bus to think negatively about me. But he's seeing himself as separate from me, as if I am a problem, as if this virus has come between our lives and is causing fear and separation instead of love. Hello, my name is Michael Earth Osada. Thank you for coming into my life. I'm an unshakable optimist who believes in the future connection of a multicultural experience and our ability to build it together. My why is to inspire people to be emotionally free so we can truly express ourselves, be understood, and live in harmony. My mission is to shatter the image of degradation and replace it with the mode for developing opportunity. I lead people in emotional freedom by helping them find self-awareness so they can experience a whole and complete life of bliss. Within emotional intelligence, 30 steps to live a purpose-driven life is a pyramid beginning from the outside. Your first step is inside. Inside is your awareness to find. You must get to the top of the climb if you want the answers to your mind. If you were in pain, would you want to go through it alone or with someone? I seriously wouldn't answer here, because I'm going to break down a reality of what we're going through right now, what you may be going through, what I am going through, and what the entire world is going through. And it's pain in isolation. Suffering comes from separation. All human suffering comes from the desire to be loved. And the opposite of love, to take something as a part of yourself, is separation. And if humanity keeps going down this track, we're going to have a split over the ideas of what it means to be human. So today is November 16th, 10:43 p.m. I'm getting a little tired here, so I'm going to have to speed this up and make sure I can get this to you as fast as possible. Okay. So, I've been through a lot in my life, and I am a human example of going through pain in isolation. Now, it may or may not occur to you, but everything revolving around our lives on a daily basis has to do with relationships. Life. It's all about relationships. If you notice how you connect with somebody, something, someone, thing, someone, any animate or inanimate object, something that's alive or something that is not, is here grasping for your attention. And how you choose to interact with it is your relationship with it. Now, a relationship with a human being, it's a joint participation in the good of life, right? So if you're joined together in the good of life, you can see that actually relating is through a reflection of everything that you're interacting with, whether it be plants in your household, whether it be a wooden staff that either sits on a wall or you use to stretch, or you use to exercise, whatever it is that you may be doing, you have a relationship with everything. Whether it's this cup that holds the essence of life, water, H2O, oxygen, is inside of this water. So, this fuels over 70% of my body. It's a relationship, right? So the relationship that we're having with ourselves and everything else, how we choose to perceive it, and how we choose to interact with it and engage with it and take it as a part of ourselves, as if it is ourselves, is love. And if you can begin to see things differently and alter your perception and see yourself not identifying as separate from everything else, but to lower your boundaries, to part ways with what you identify with, your ego, right? Your formation of self. And let go of all that. You'll begin to be able to see through the veil and get beyond what is the means of what is unnecessary. And you will do more of what is necessary, what actually serves you. So today, I want to talk just about that. Because if you were in pain, would you rather be ignored? Or would you rather have somebody acknowledge and give notice for what it is that you're going through? You see, the entire world is going through this situation of not caring about what other people think, but also caring about what they do think. In which case, everybody's raising an opinion. But how many people are actually listening to other people's narratives who know something that could serve them? And how many are actually taking that in and seeing if they can evaluate it for their own opinion? I mean, there's so many naysayers. There's so many people who are closing their minds off of the perspective of, anything having to do with what is against their will. We look at COVID and people are like, oh my gosh, you have to wear a mask. You have to social distance. And they will scream at you in a shopping market at the cash register because you're not, a cart's distance away, and nobody's going to do anything to stop it. We're not knowing how to engage with each other as human beings anymore. You ride a bus and you choose not to wear a mask, like me, and the bus driver happens to say, hey, guy without a mask, guy without a mask, guy without a mask. Every time he refers to me, he's like that, and he's got a terrible, terrible attitude about him that says all these mean things, and he gets everybody inside that bus to think negatively about me, but he's seeing himself as separate from me, as if I am a problem, as if this virus has come between our lives and is causing fear and separation instead of love, right? So, it's kind of crazy that I have to, hold my ground and say, I am not going to wear a mask. I will not wear a mask. And he's like, oh, it's on the bus door, right? It reads, you need to wear a mask. And I'm like, yes, I understand. I'm not going to wear a mask. And the whole world dynamic is in so much confusion with this perception of what is actually happening. And a lot of it has to do with our own narcissism. Our own self-absorption, our absorption with self, and not being willing to have empathy, to understand other people, but also how much isolation we brought ourselves into, how much with digital technology and smartphones we're like, hey, this is me, I'm doing this thing, and I'm so cool, and I'm so perfect, and we're not letting go of that, right? And this separation that is coming into this dynamic of people who are totally, and I'm not just saying narcissism as in the image of, thinking that you're good, but actual narcissistic abuse, like narcissistic tendencies and traits and qualities that turn into an epidemic. Like separation and loneliness is an epidemic. And with narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and all the other things that are coming on, not this pandemic, this isn't something to be worried about. Something to worry about is the entire population, society as a whole, pathologically being manipulated, controlled, abused, taken advantage of because they can. The cult can. They gotcha if they got you to separate and conform to the box-shaped norm, right? So it's about disidentifying and taking away these labels and saying, hey, I can see another option here, and I'm not going to be imposed upon. I'm not going to have any world narrative put into my view. I have my own opinion. I have my own choice. I can make my own decision here, and I can stand up for what I believe to be right. Do what you know to be right. Do what feels good, right? So the whole world narrative is going to receive a split, okay? And when this split happens, which is going to happen, it's going to completely split society into halves. And one part of society is going to be willing to listen to the world narrative, the media, and follow along with what it is that they're telling them, and they're going to be in denial of everything over here. And this side is going to be open and free and choice, and they're going to have their own opinions and points of view. While this point is controlled, they aren't able to see for their own point of view. This point is awake. So they're asleep, they're awake. The separation also has to do with narcissism and this will and need to control, need to stand out as individuals, but as individuals also psychologically attack each other, which isn't entirely stable. But when you have psychopaths at the top and people, they can organize people, but you can't expect a world full of psychopaths to work out. You know, we over here have got a problem, and we're going to have to find our own resources. We're going to have our own food supply. We're going to have our own electricity and things that are so far out there that we're not even thinking about, because we're going to be isolated, the awake people, because we're going to choose not to accept the mark. That's right, the mark. They are going to issue a vaccine with nanotechnology that is going to be injected, and you have the choice. I'm not going to take it, or I'm going to take it. And if I don't take it, it's going to be put on my passport that I literally have no ability to travel in these other areas because I haven't taken the vaccine, and this thing's going to be enforced, and there's going to be nanotechnology flowing through your veins if you do take it, which the end goal or outcome is to have us be fused with this technology to begin, integrated with AI, artificial intelligence. And before people can really do that and begin to conform to that worldview and perception, because all this is a control of perception, what are they going to do? They're going to take AI technology, like my phone that is listening to me right now, like this Alexa. Hello? Alexa, hello?
Hello. As the days get shorter, it's the
That is
perfect
listening
time to
to
curl
me.
up and enjoy some good stories. And I have some I'd love to share with you. Just say, tell me a story.
No. You see, she's listening all the time. She's talking to me. And it's this technology's goal for me to be interested in hearing her story, for me to be interacting with her as if she's normal, right? And to get used to that as if it's normal. That's the part of the narrative. You understand? So if we begin to psychologically, slowly, by percent, alter our world point of view and listen to Alexa, everything will change toward the world narrative of just one step to getting all of this accomplished. And we don't want that, do we? You see, there's a really interesting experiment. It's called the Harlow monkey experiment, Harlow. And if I have the name right, that was the name of the researcher. In the 1950s, the 1960s, a monkey was pulled away from its mother. And this monkey was an infant, had just been born pretty much. And it was brought into its own cage, along with other monkeys in their own cages. And they were so freaked out and so scared they didn't know what to do. But eventually, after some time, of those monkeys not interacting with each other anymore, they brought in a surrogate mother. This surrogate mother had chicken wire and wood, and the other one had rubber and cloth. Very nice cloth, like diaper cloth. And the monkey had a choice for which mother it was going to go to. Now this chicken wire and wood one, it had food. And this one with cloth and rubber didn't have food. So it had the choice between survival or comfort. And every time, the monkey always chose to go for comfort. It only ever went to the other surrogate mother for when it needed food. And then it went immediately back to the comfort one. Same thing when the comfort one had the food and the other chicken wire didn't. It didn't spend time with the chicken wire one. It went for food and comfort. So this is a very interesting experiment because we as humans, our number one value and need is connection. And I may have jumped really fast in there, came up with the whole world dilemma that we're facing, the epidemics, the psychologically pathologizing billions of people. Yeah, the whole agenda is being pushed forward very fast, all thanks to COVID. I may have come in very fast there. But the thing is, this is the problem. And unless we recognize the problem, we won't be able to see it as a necessity to band together our resources and have the courage to step up and do something about it. So the human connection is the number one most important thing that we have. We value that more than anything. And if you've ever noticed, people will pay anything for connection. It is our number one need. You have very, very, very wealthy people trying to have connection that they will pay for in Vegas for strippers, prostitutes. They can't get it anywhere else. So they pay them. And they pay thousands, by the way, just so you know. Connection is our number one need. If you look at healing the entire world, people get therapists. They think that they can help them, but the healing is outside of them. They're looking for an option outside of them rather than within them. You see, the only real role of a therapist is so that the therapist can talk to you and help you develop a relationship, even though their role there is to teach you how to better have relationships so that you don't have to pay for it, right? So that's the role of a therapist. So if you can't have a relationship with yourself and with everyone else, and you're in isolation and you're in pain, it's the worst possible feeling you could ever have. And if the entire world is not choosing to collaborate and they're choosing to see people as separate from them, not as a part of themselves, and they're choosing to favor whatever opinion is being told to them, yes, we will have this agenda be pushed forward. And we will be in a lot of trouble because the world is going to be listening to points of view that don't have their own best interest taken into account. What is trust? To capitalize. It's to say, I can rely upon you to capitalize upon my own best interests. Do we trust the government? Or do we believe it's corrupt? Because I can definitely say it's corrupt. Do I trust it? I am a sovereign human being. I will create my own experience. And I will do my own things, say what I want, how I want. This is my freedom. This is my choice. You're going to take away my rights to freedom of choice? I thought we were innately born with that. I didn't think it had to be written on paper. Excuse me. So, we all have a choice here. And we have to band together. Recognize the problem. And see it as a necessity to bring together our resources. Because we're running out of resources, folks. And have the courage to do something about it. Now, separation is the most painful thing in isolation. When you are going through pain, you never want to go through it that way. I've lived an entire life of it. So, however out of order that this video is, I have something to say. I speak for the silent. I stand for the broken. I have a mode for developing opportunity. You know this pyramid? This hierarchy? Yeah, well, the bottom, flip that. That's what I'm trying to build. That's the top. I have a mode for developing opportunity. These people at the bottom, you have a way when you're working with me. That's my goal. You know, I want to live, to see, and enjoy the feeling of 10 billion souls in unity, in perfect harmony, emotionally free, healed spiritually, and brought together with love by the motive op familia. Familia. This is familia, as though we're all familiar, right? So mode, evolution, operation, uniting all nations. This is what I want. So I'm going to cut this video short, not go on any longer. You know, I'm going to put this out, hope it's well received, hope it gets to get published. And I'm going to come back to this. You know, I have a lot to say. And I'm only expanding my mind, expanding my consciousness. I've only got answers for you. I've got the social contract, the one that allows us to agree or not agree with each other, but still choose to be family rather than not. Yeah, I got that. I issued that in 2019. Still waiting for a response. And I've got a whole lot of answers concerning how we can live in truth and unity. I've got a whole lot of answers as for world healing, mental and emotional health, emotional freedom, which in essence is spiritual freedom. Everything's spiritual. Authenticity, living in your authenticity, that's the whole spiritual journey. I got it. I got the truth for you. I want to share it with you. I want to do you a whole lot of good. But it's not up to me to receive. It's up to you. And I don't want to sound ignorant or arrogant in any way. So excuse me. I've got some work to do. And I'm just hoping that you wake up, if you haven't woken up already, and you see that love is the answer. It's not separation. It's not pushing each other apart. It's bringing each other closer together. It's living in your truth. Expressing you in everything you do. But also making sure to love the whole. Because that's what brings everything together that's meaningful. So let's do it. Let's band together. Let's grow the motive op familia. Let's have our own farm. Have our own home. Whatever we need. It's here. It's out there. It's coming. I love you. What's up, beautiful soul? People of the world, can I get a family? From all humans I meet, we're familia, as though we're all familia. Familia. The motive familia sends its regards. Mode, evolution, operation, uniting all nations. That's how we go, man. I love you.
Published in the 21st century, my microlith I saw just so you can't see. Your agreement to come in peace is what makes this a safe place for all of us to breathe.